No one ever warned Daniel that marriage could fall apart without shouting. He always thought problems announced themselves loudly. Raised voices, slamming doors, harsh words that left visible damage. He believed silence meant peace, or at least stability. It took him years to understand that silence can be a weapon when used often enough. When he married Amara, he believed he was prepared. He had a job that paid the bills. He had plans. He had the kind of ambition that felt responsible rather than reckless. He told himself love did not need constant attention if the foundation was strong. In the beginning, everything felt balanced. They talked late into the night, sitting on the edge of their small rented apartment, sharing fears they had never said out loud to anyone else. Amara spoke about wanting a life that felt meaningful, not just successful. Daniel spoke about his fear of becoming irrelevant, of being ordinary in a world that rewarded noise. They promised to grow together. The first year was gentle. The second year was busy. By the third year, busy became normal. Daniel's work hours increased slowly, almost politely. Extra meetings, weekend calls, late nights that came with apologies and explanations that sounded reasonable. Amara understood at first. She cooked dinner later. She waited longer. She told herself this was temporary, but temporary has a habit of settling in. Conversations shortened, not because there was nothing to say, but because there was never enough time to say it properly. Daniel started answering questions with efficiency instead of care. Amara noticed, but she chose patience over confrontation. She had been taught that good marriages did not complain unnecessarily. They stopped arguing. That should have worried them more than it did. When Amara talked about her day, Daniel listened while checking messages. When Daniel spoke about work, Amara nodded while folding laundry. Presence became partial, attention became divided. Neither of them noticed the shift immediately because nothing felt broken yet. Sacrifice began quietly. Amara postponed her plans to return to school. She told herself it would be easier later, once Daniel's career stabilized. Daniel missed anniversaries without meaning to. He replaced gestures with explanations. He believed understanding mattered more than effort. Neither of them was cruel. That made the damage harder to see. One evening, Amara waited at the table with dinner growing cold. Daniel arrived late again, distracted, already speaking about a problem he needed to solve the next day. She listened, then asked a simple question. "Do you still feel like we're on the same side?" The question caught him off guard. He answered too quickly. "Of course we are." But his tone carried impatience, not reassurance. That night, Amara cried quietly in the bathroom, careful not to make noise. Daniel lay awake, annoyed at himself for feeling accused when he knew no accusation had been made. From that moment on, something shifted. Amara stopped asking questions that required emotional answers. Daniel stopped offering explanations unless asked directly. They began managing the marriage instead of living inside it. Months passed this way. Then came the argument that changed everything, not because it was loud, but because it was honest. Amara finally said what she had been holding back. "I feel like I am shrinking to make room for your life." Daniel heard the words but responded to the implication instead of the pain. "I'm doing this for us." It was true, and it was incomplete. That night, neither of them slept well. Daniel stayed awake replaying the conversation, feeling misunderstood. Amara stared at the ceiling, realizing that love alone does not protect people from becoming invisible inside their own marriage. By morning, nothing was resolved, and yet life continued. They went to work. They paid bills. They smiled in public. From the outside, they looked stable. Inside, they were quietly exhausted. Neither of them knew yet that the most dangerous phase of their marriage had begun. Not anger, not betrayal, but emotional distance disguised as maturity. And distance, once accepted, rarely asked permission to grow. The distance between Daniel and Amara did not explode. It stretched. That made it harder to point at, harder to explain, and easier to ignore. They still shared the same bed, but sleep arrived at different times. Daniel often stayed awake scrolling through messages, convincing himself he was unwinding. Amara turned toward the wall, listening to his breathing change, wondering when companionship had become something she felt only in memories. Weeks passed before either of them spoke again about the argument. When they did, it was not planned. Daniel came home one evening earlier than usual. He found Amara sitting at the table, papers spread in front of her, forms, applications, notes written carefully in the margins. "What's this?" he asked. She looked up, surprised, as if she had not expected to be seen. "I'm applying to school again," she said. "I waited long enough." The words were calm, but the meaning was not. Daniel felt something tighten inside him. He wanted to be supportive. He truly did. But fear arrived before pride. He thought about schedules, money, adjustments, about how her growth would require him to make room. He hesitated. That hesitation said more than words. Amara noticed immediately. "I'm not asking for permission," she added quietly. "I just wanted you to know." The conversation ended politely, too politely. That night, Daniel realized something uncomfortable. He had grown used to being the center of their shared decisions, not because Amara insisted, but because she adapted. And adaptation, repeated long enough, begins to look like agreement. Guilt followed him for days. He began noticing things he had ignored before. How Amara no longer spoke about dreams, only tasks. How she filled silence with productivity. How laughter came less easily. Sacrifice, he realized, had not been equal. Daniel tried to correct course. He offered help. He asked questions, but timing matters. Concern offered late can feel strategic instead of sincere. Amara listened, but she was tired. "I needed this version of you years ago," she said one evening, not angrily, just honestly. The words stayed with him. Then something unexpected happened. Daniel failed. A project he had built his identity around collapsed. Decisions above him changed direction. His role was reduced. The future he had been racing towards slowed suddenly. For the first time in years, Daniel came home without answers. Amara noticed the change immediately. The restlessness, the silence that felt heavier than before. She sat with him that night without offering solutions. She simply stayed. That moment did something to him. He realized how often Amara had done the same for him, without recognition, without applause. How sacrifice looks different when it is quiet. How love is proven not by ambition, but by endurance. Over time, roles shifted. Daniel learned to listen without fixing. Amara learned to speak without apologizing. Progress was slow, uneven, but real. They began setting time aside intentionally. No phones, no multitasking, just presence. Not because everything was healed, but because avoidance was no longer an option. Months later, Amara received her acceptance letter. This time, Daniel did not hesitate. "I'm proud of you," he said, and he meant it without fear. Their marriage did not become perfect, but it became honest. And honesty, they learned, is not loud. It is consistent. Sacrifice does not mean disappearing. It means choosing each other without erasing yourself. Some marriages fail because of betrayal. Others survive because of awareness. Daniel and Amara survived because they learned that love must be renewed, not assumed, and that quiet wars can be ended, but only if both sides are willing to speak.